everyone. I am Suman Devnath, a Principal Developer Advocate with Amazon EFS, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kale. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Kyle Lee. I'm a Senior Developer Advocate on the AWS Amplify team, and we are joined today by Rajiv on the OpenSearch team.
Hey folks,
Welcome.
thank you. Excited to be here. I'm a Principal Product Manager on the OpenSearch team. We've just launched some new capabilities as part of a service. Here to introduce it to you and excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us here live in San Francisco. We're here at the SF Summit where all the amazing stuff that's being talked about is happening right here on AWS On Air, and that is why we're going to be talking about OpenSearch, right?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about OpenSearch and like what is it, and some people might even know about OpenSearch and not even realize that they know about it because it was formerly named something else, right?
That's right. It was previously called Amazon Elasticsearch Service. We renamed that a little over a year ago. And it was primarily done when we came up with an OpenSearch open source distribution. And as part of that, we renamed the service to be Amazon OpenSearch Service. We still support the older Elasticsearch distributions on it, so Elasticsearch 1.x all the way to various versions of 7.x. But we now also have new OpenSearch distributions running on the service, and that's why the service has been renamed to Amazon OpenSearch Service.
Got it, got it. So now we're here to talk about all the amazing things that are being launched and what's new and all the greatness. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with OpenSearch today.
OpenSearch is an exciting project. So we have a very vibrant community of developers that is contributing in the open source to it. And we also run a managed service for it. And the value of OpenSearch is really in its ability to help you find the right piece of information to give you the insights to solve your problem. It's really effective at searching through a large corpus of semi-structured data. Whether it's a typical search use case, if you're powering your websites, or if you're troubleshooting your production applications and you're wading through a lot of log data or semi-structured machine-generated data to generate those insights.
Yeah. I think you talked about few of the use cases, but can you just touch base upon what are the major use cases that our customers should use this service?
So the biggest use cases really are in search, observability, and security. So search use cases are very typical scenarios where maybe there's a e-commerce site and you want to power product search for it, or there's a product data catalog that you want to enable searches for it. If you want to develop a news feed, for example, you might use search applications underneath the hood to power that. So that's one core use case. The other scenario is where you're using sort of log data or machine-generated data for your DevOps or your SecOps teams to be able to use them for either what we call as observability or for security use cases.
So you mentioned about observability. Can you just brief us, what that means? A lot of people might, may not come from that background.
Yeah, keep in mind, I am a mobile developer. I don't really know what that means. Tell me a little bit about what is observability for people that might not know.
Yep.
So observability as a term has really become popularized over the last 7 to 10 years or so, I would say, since the growth of distributed application environments. And the reason that's been the case is it encompasses a set of tools and processes that developers, DevOps teams may use to look at data about their systems to really understand the root cause or the true cause of any issue that they might be troubleshooting, whether it's availability or uptime, or whether it's capacity planning, or whether it's cost optimization initiatives. So it really helps you identify what is the true cause that might help me sort of achieve my business goal. And normally people think about sort of logs, metrics, and traces. This has become sort of a buzzword where if you're doing observability, you're really trying to think about logs, metrics, and traces as the three pillars of observability. You're gathering that data to help you in your observability initiatives.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so there are a lot of challenges that we have, in implementing observability, right? So, what we are doing from AWS to solve that problem, how our customers can benefit out of this.
Yeah, so OpenSearch as a platform has always been very useful and valuable for log analytics use cases. It's machine-generated data, it's semi-structured, you want to be able to search it, aggregate it, analyze it. It's very powerful for those scenarios. What's happened recently is that as you've gone to distributed application environments, the amount of log data has just exploded. So people are looking to sort of complement log data with other types of data that they can use to accelerate their troubleshooting. And one of those types of data is called distributed trace data or tracing data. And we've added or extended OpenSearch with distributed tracing capabilities to use both in conjunction, to both trace data and log data together to help you really troubleshoot problems faster.
Got it.
I
Okay.
Yeah, I think that means that, and we are talking about a huge amount of data, right? It's
Yeah.
not a small amount of data, small log files. It's not like that. So we are talking about a massive data, and so the next thing that that comes to our mind is, how Amazon OpenSearch new release, help our customer. How a customer can make use of this.
Yeah, we just released OpenSearch 1.2. That's the latest version of
That's the
OpenSearch
latest
available
version,
on the service. And maybe I can give you a demo.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that way I can show you what the product does. And
Honestly, that would probably be the best thing because like talking about all this is great, but I'm
Seeing
more of
is
a
believing.
visual person.
Let's do
so I really want to see how
Yeah.
this thing works in practice.
let's do it. So I've got my OpenSearch dashboards open up available here, and I'm going to use this interface to navigate to some of the log data and trace data that we talked about.
So this is a welcome screen that
This
wants
is
to
exactly.
get
This
in.
is our welcome screen. One of the new capabilities within OpenSearch 1.2 is a new plugin that's available called as an observability plugin. So I'm going to navigate to that right here. Right out of the bat, you'll see that our observability plugin has tabs within it to help you navigate to trace data, to use things like event analytics and operational analytics to be able to analyze my log data or other types of machine-generated data that might be here.
Got it.
And I'll talk a little bit about more why we added this
Yeah.
and what the value out of that is going to be while I go through my demo.
Okay.
But the most important thing is, we've got an application already instrumented that's generating the log data and trace data that we need to use here. So let me show you the kinds of visibility we're able to provide.
Okay.
So my application that I'm monitoring is really just a simple application that kind of helps me order some products or services and has an interface for me to navigate to some services and just do a simple checkout.
Got it.
So we've gathered trace information about that particular application. We have a service map out here that shows me all the different microservices
Yep.
and how they are communicating
Connected to each other. Yeah.
Exactly. In addition to that, all the individual traces that are coming in, we automatically collect them together into similar traces called trace groups. So, for example, loading your main screen, or checking out, or creating an order. I might have hundreds or thousands of those types of traces, and we can monitor each one of those individually, each request individually. But it's super useful to know that as a group or as an aggregate, how do they perform? So this main dashboard kind of gives me a quick summary of what that looks like.
Got it. So you're able to, one second. So you're able to set up these trace groups based off of whatever you feel are important metrics that are relevant to each other, and then you're able to kind of see the information at a glance right here in the dashboard?
That's correct, and we do this automatically. So there's no manual setup required. We automatically understand what are similar traces and put them into into a trace
Oh, so the
group.
trace groups form themselves.
Correct.
Wow,
Correct. We're
okay.
using sort of the entry points. Every microservice has a set of operations on it.
Got
So
it.
every unique operation corresponds essentially to a trace group out here.
Makes sense.
So you can think of your app as essentially providing these 5 types of actions that a user would typically want to take. So your entire application is made up of these 5 or 6 trace groups, and we've sort of profiled your entire application performance in this one view, essentially. So the most interesting thing you can immediately jumps out at you is, for whatever reason, my client checkouts are seeing a super high error rate, you know?
That would be nice.
Can be good for business if my customers aren't able to sort of accomplish what they came here to do.
Just seems like an outlier, though.
Correct. Well, and so let's try and understand why that's happened or what
Yeah.
might be going on. And that's the power of OpenSearch. It kind of really helps me troubleshoot or diagnose these
Debug,
things really
yeah.
quickly. So on the service map, we actually show you how each of the service nodes are performing in a heat map style fashion. So we've got obviously, here we're showing it by latency, which is like the response time of each of those services.
Got it.
We're looking at checkout time, right? So let's look at the error rate out here. So clearly, you know, the payment service seems to be the one that seems to be having the highest error rate. So very good likelihood, like at a glance, I've been able to sort of probably diagnose there's something going on with the payment service
Yeah.
that I want to sort of investigate further. But to really confirm it, what I might want to do is I might want to filter my entire view just with this client checkouts. So let me just click on it. So once you do that, you can see that filter's been established. That's the only trace group I'm looking at. And same thing out here, the payment service. The front-end clients is, you know, obviously seeing this 99% error rate,
Yeah.
but the payment group has this 78% error rate associated with it. So that's something that I want to be able to investigate.
I think this is very insightful, right? So before even diving deep, how, with this graph, we can understand which component is having the trouble or any problem, and we can dive deep inside.
Correct, exactly.
I'm still kind of blown away that
Yeah.
all this stuff is like just generated for
Right.
you. So
Correct.
This is
correct.
really cool.
It's amazing. So you can see that in this sample set, I've got about 715 traces. 99.3% of them actually errored out.
Yep.
And I can actually navigate to search for each one of those 715 instances. So if I go to the trace tab, it's a full list of all my 715 instances. I can sort these by by latency or by error rate, for example, to see which ones they are. So I'm picking the one that may be executed the fastest, but obviously still had an error. So that one's right here. And when I click into that particular trace ID, I can actually see the execution sequence of that particular trace across my end-to-end environment. So
Wow.
the customer made a front-end client call.
Okay.
That did an HTTP post,
Yeah.
which was also erroring out. All of these errors were actually triggered by something on my payment service.
Yeah.
And so these errors on the payment service actually propagated up, and so all the way to my front-end client.
Oh,
So you can
okay.
see very clearly that was going on.
So
Payment
you can see
service,
the root cause from where it all started. Right?
that's exactly right.
Wow.
So
Okay. So we're saving time now.
huge amounts. And so instead of looking at logs across my end-to-end environment, looking at hundreds of logs, I know instantly, hey, maybe I need to sort of drill into the logs from my payment service now to identify really what might be causing those errors to occur.
Got it. Somebody didn't write tests.
Correct.
We
And
also see some payload in the bottom. I
Yeah,
see
we
that
do.
there's a JSON.
yeah, we do. So the entire trace context for all of these are called traces and spans.
Yep.
So all of these traces and spans, we have the entire payload available. There's additional attributes that you might choose to put in the payload.
Ah, okay.
So if you want to put in information about the order size, for example, or which region or country they might be originating from. So you can do more searches or filtering based on those attributes as well. So
Got
there's
it.
additional data that's here in this in the entire payload that could be useful in doing some further analysis as well. In this scenario, sort of obviously, we've looked at traces, we've helped it isolate a problem, and now we might want to dig into our payment service.
Yeah.
So we make that easy too by bringing logs and trace analytics together as part of our observability solution.
Okay.
So we know we have this trace ID. So we've given you a simple way to kind of like copy that.
Yeah.
And I can use that trace ID to navigate to my event analytics.
Oh, okay.
Now, event analytics is a really simple way for me to kind of like search for any log data that I might have stored. And I want to search for log events with that corresponding trace ID. So I know that particular trace, at that trace ID, it errored out.
Yeah.
I want to see, what were the exact log events associated with it. So I can actually write a query to search on the payment side, and I've created one beforehand, and I've saved it here. So it's called trace ID and application logs. So I'm going to click on that.
Open
and-
search.
And
So efficient that even the engineers and the PMs are making sure that that you're saving time
Right,
even during the
right.
demos.
right. So you guys can, if you guys remember,
Yeah.
we'd grabbed this particular trace
Yeah.
ID
Trace
there,
ID.
right? So I'm going to navigate back to Event Analytics, go to the trace ID and logs. So this is a sample query that I wrote. I'm going to copy paste the trace ID that
Yeah.
I actually copied,
Uh-huh.
and pull up now I've pulled up the exact event
event.
that corresponded to it. And I can see the details around the event about what might have occurred. And I can use this to kind of like troubleshoot in my environment what is going on. So we've brought together traces and logs in one place to help you accelerate your troubleshooting.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other cool thing that we've got here, I think that's worthwhile highlighting, is the event analytics and operational panels. We've now extended log analytics into log monitoring.
Okay, what does that mean?
So when you're previously when you were looking to search or query log data, you had to know exactly. You had to know how to form your query. You had to create a visualization
Yep.
exactly based on sort of what you were interested in. We're really building an interface to allow you to do a lot more interactive analysis. There's a couple of attributes about what we've got here that facilitates that interactive analysis, that helps with that log monitoring. So let me kind of like show that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing is, like on this interface, we've saved multiple types of result sets to easily pull up once again. So there's both visualizations and queries.
query.
I'm going to show you the full list of them by pulling the entire list here, for example. So one of the things that might be interested in, I've got a default visualization here that I'm going to show you what that means. So I'm actually searching for the max bytes by different hosts. So we've got both the max bytes and the average bytes that I've gone through on a host in my distributed environment. First thing you'll notice is like we've got multiple visualization types, so you can switch it around and see what that looks like.
Nice.
And you can toggle back and forth between your event and your visualization. So when I go to the event query, event tab, I can see the exact PPL query, the exact query that I used to create this visualization, and then toggle back and forth between those two. The beauty about the query language that we've got added here is something known as piped processing language,
Okay.
or
Okay.
PPL, and it has a number of interesting attributes. So the first one is it uses these pipe commands which Unix developers will be very familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yep.
So you can use the results of
Okay.
one query set to pipe it into another query set.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to use it to kind of create successive queries that filter or subset the data as you go along.
Yeah.
And so when you create a visualization, you say, oh, you know what, I just really want to filter just to the max bytes or for this particular host.
And you just
It's-
pipe. You just pipe.
Just
it in.
add
Keep
it
on
and pipe
piping,
it to the
yeah.
result and create a query. So the pipe processing language and the ability to see events and visualizations side by side and toggle back and forth to make sure it's delivered exactly what you want is what allows you to do log monitoring much more effectively.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I really enjoy the visualization aspect of it because, like I said, I am a very visual person. So like being able to switch between these two tabs is really amazing because then I can actually take a look at something and I'll be able to, like if I was just dealing with data, like obviously it's so hard to just kind of grasp what's going on when you're just looking at words and
raw
numbers
data.
and raw data, right?
Right.
But like when you have that visualization aspect, like it helps you like visualize mentally what that issue is and then break it down and get to it faster. And then being able to add on top of that by
Filters.
piping and filtering is even more like phenomenal that you could just like, okay, I don't know PPL, right?
Yep.
But like being able to see the query that was generated for me
Correct.
and see how that works. Like, isn't that what developers do? Like, okay, I'm gonna copy and paste it. Worked over here. I'm gonna put it over here, and then it just starts working, right?
Yeah.
So that's like really awesome.
Yeah. So if you love visualizations, you're going to love this one other thing I'm about to show you as well. So you might have noticed we also have these operational panels here. And what we allow developers to do or users to do is to actually create dashboards for themselves with multiple visualizations on it. So I showed you sort of how we'd saved many visualizations on it. I've created a sample dashboard out here with several different visualization spaces together. So if I have if I've created many visualizations on different log files that are part of my end-to-end app environment, and I want to go to a central place to to monitor that and easily do that, so you can do that.
That's
So-
awesome.
So,
Thank you so much for showing us this, Rajiv. Like this is
Yeah.
awesome. Like can't wait to check it out. Real quick, where should people go to check out some more information about these new great features that are added to OpenSearch?
I would say OpenSearch 1.2 is available on the service today, so you
It's
can
GA'd.
it's
Yep.
GA. You can upgrade your existing clusters or domains to OpenSearch 1.2, or you can launch a new OpenSearch 1.2 domain and play around
Get
with
set up,
it and see how it works well for you. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming here with us on AWS On Air. Really appreciate all the amazing stuff that we were able to see with OpenSearch, and we hope to see you again in the future when we know that OpenSearch isn't finished, right? It's only going to get better in the future, so we
Still
really
day
look.
one.
Yep.
it's always day one. Exactly right. We're working on more cool stuff to come. So
Looking forward
really-
to seeing you in the future.
absolutely, really enjoyed the conversation, guys. Thank you for
Thank
hosting
so
me.
much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.